Good morning, everybody. So really what I'm here to talk about is pretty simple. I joined VES, the legacy business, about 18 months ago, and we've been on this journey to transform our business, our business model, the strategy which we're applying towards the dairy industry. And really there's two separate tracks. What's on the slide here on the screen really covers one track. So let me tell you about the second one, and then that's the one I'll speak to first. So this is what we sell. And I'll get to this, and then the deeper story around this particular slide, Mark Dornick and Ryan Piercy will do better justice to than I could. So it's what we sell, and the second track is how we sell. So I'll verbally speak to the second piece of it. And I like using consumer examples. You know, we live in a world of immediate need. You know, we can go to our phones, we can buy an airline ticket, book a hotel room, order dinner, even from Burger King if you want. You know, how things have changed in the last 10 years. And how we sell in consumer markets is instantaneous. Commercial industrial tends to lag a little bit in that regard. We do the dairyman calls the dealer calls the sales guy calls the office, and we're back in 1995. So the reinvention of our business in terms of how we do business and how we sell is really about applying current state, readily, everyday used technology to that process. People want instant. They want instant quotes, they want instant access, they want to know when their product's going to ship. You know, if my Amazon package gets delivered, I can see it on my surveillance camera and I get a text message. How awesome is that? You know, it's amazing how this world of connected data has transformed our lives, and we're going to bring that to the dairy industry, especially in the back of the barn. So that's the how we will sell. The what we will sell is what's on the screen. And the legacy business, VES, was primarily a hardware company. The legacy Artex business, which VES and Artex merged earlier this year in January, was also known as a hardware business. So we would lead with ventilation and dairy steel and cow comfort hardware and lighting, all tangible hardware items in the back of the barn that really revolved around this animal-centered environment, optimizing the environment for the best interest of the cow. And all good economic things happen when we take care of the environment and the animal. So really this is a four-step progression for us, where it starts at the lower left with really where our both businesses came from. And our current business, by and large, is still a hardware company. All the things you've known us for, you can still get: ventilation, dairy steel, cow comfort hardware, lighting, high pressure fogging, all those different things. And we're quickly moving up the stack from left to right. Smart hardware, and again, I like using the consumer examples because we can all relate to that. You know, whether it's the smart thermostat or the refrigerator that tells you that the door's been left open, or I can turn my stove on while I'm driving home, type of thing. You know, so that's this world that we currently live in as consumers, smart hardware. But smart hardware is only as good as how you can apply it into its environment. You know, and I'm a tech junkie. Anybody who knows me, I can control everything in my life from my phone, which is awesome. So then it takes it up to the smart barn, where the facility in itself, we've got all these individual devices that are smart motors that can communicate two ways, smart sensing around the dairy, and then it creates a smart environment. And really then the holy grail becomes the far right, and this is the smart animal, smart farm, where it's one thing to have an environment that can be optimized. It's a completely different set of circumstances to have an environment that optimizes itself. And that's really the thing is, you know, I've been in this industry for 18 months, so I don't have the same resume of dairymen I've spoken to like Mark or Ryan or Sue Hart. But I can tell you 100% of the dairymen I've spoken to say, I've got enough data. I don't need any more data. But the best data is data you don't have to do anything with. And I think about in my car, you know, not just senses that the car in front of me hit its brakes, mine also hits its brakes on its own, because I'm probably on my phone. Actually, I'm not. But, you know, data that actually triggers action to be taken without human intervention, and that's really where we're going with this. So hardware to a smart facility, to the smart animal, optimizing the self-environment. So now the million-dollar question is, how are we going to do that? And that's why I got a smart guy named Mark Dornick who's going to tell you that. So let me do my one click.
All right, so we're excited today to talk about the Turntight Intelligent Barn powered by Dairy Boss. As Ed mentioned, there's many things that drive the economic engine of the farm. And so they're on the screen there. And our really is we try to optimize whether it's the feed efficiency and milk production, take care of the reproductive measures, animal health in all forms. Really what we're driving for is an increased ROI. Trying to do more with less, invest the dollars appropriately, and be able to measure that income coming back to you. And we break that down into three areas: animal well-being, the efficiency of operations, and maximizing production. So animal well-being, that's everything that touches the cow. We want to maximize the comfort. Ed mentioned our dairy steel or cow comfort hardware. Those could be headlocks or dairy stalls. But also just think about the things that we can do where she sleeps and rests to make sure those consistent, the beds are consistently dry and prepared for them. Efficient operations, labor. Think about labor on dairy farms. Definitely a resource that most dairymen will worry about day to day, what's going to happen tomorrow. So we're going to help there with the intelligent automated solutions, as Ed mentioned. Can the barn make the decisions for the person as if they were standing there to make that for them? Can we turn the fans on or off, or the misting and the soaking, and make decisions that improve or optimize animal health as if we were making them standing there? That comes in many areas. We'll also look at using our resources appropriately, using less electricity, optimizing our use of water. In the Midwest, we tend to have a lot of water, so having too much water in this environment is not always good. We have to pump it out of the pits. Versus in other drier environments, using that water appropriately because it's a scarce resource. So on both ends of the scale, but we want to look at our bottom line there. And then, of course, optimizing the milk production. We'll just say production, because it could be employees as well. Making the labor you do have, can we make them even more efficient in what they're working on and what they're doing? And, of course, milk production. All in the intelligent barn. We call it the animal-centered environment, so it's starting with the end in mind. Put the cow in the middle. And around the cow, I call it Maslow's hierarchy for cow. What touches the cow every day? Food, air, water, the environment, so the steel, the barn that animal's in. Those things are what we are really trying to control whenever we're doing any changes in our management. And those management changes come through many operating systems. Some of the obvious ones that happen every day in the front of the barn or the milking parlor, but then also feeding and herd management, manure. All those systems are all trying to optimize around that cow. And if you go another orbit out away from that cow are the people. The people on the farm, the consultants and veterinarians that we hire, and also all the things, the feed suppliers, the equipment providers such as VES-Artex, and then of course off the farm. All of that trying to optimize the cow environment for the same outcomes. The consultants are saying, how can we help with you on profitability? What can we do to optimize sustainability? Where can we really develop business intelligence? But if you think about how far this business intelligence is from where the cow is in her stall, so keeping the cow in mind is very important. That's what Dairy Boss will help you do. So Dairy Boss is a cloud-based program that connects the intelligent barn. We just talked about these things, but things in the back of the barn. We see many scattered products across the back of the barn. Flush systems or scrapers or lights. Maybe there's fans, maybe not. And all these IoT devices. You know, we just got a new washer and dryer, and it's a smart washer and dryer. I still haven't figured out what that does, but apparently the two talk together because they're sitting next to each other and say this was a bad load of laundry, so you better dry it faster. I don't know, or dry it. But you got all these smart devices. Well, what can we do in the barn with those as well? What can we do that these streams of data, as Ed said, that we have a lot of data, how can we turn those streams of data into information that is actionable? So that's the intelligent barn, is creating that actionable information and driving that towards the intelligent farm. So on top of what we do in the barn, in the back of the barn, let's add what happens in the front of the barn, things with herd and feed management, things with dairy comp and feed watch and easy feed, and down to the cow level information. What can we learn from the accelerometers or the pedometers and the tags that the cows are wearing? And how can we bring that together with milk processor information, milk futures, and then simple things like weather, so that maybe we know it's going to get hot this week, we know what happens when we don't react, and let the barn react for you to know that the cows need extra comfort. So we call that the intelligent farm when we bring that all together. So again, another way to look at this is with the animal in the middle. And then there's all these other, we'll say, operating systems around the farm. often referred to as a delicate dance of operations. When one person doesn't do their part of the waltz or the group dance, things don't run right. So all these things, these areas need to flow together, from financials to the manure side of things. And we look at where Dairy Boss fits in, is we're really looking at taking care of our inputs, as I mentioned, food, feed, water, electricity, the resources, and what are our outputs? And carefully measure the outputs to see what we can do to optimize that. As well as connecting it to the other animal information that's coming from herd or feed management or wearables, with our ultimate holy grail of maybe a scorekeeping for sustainability. So that maybe ultimately you could be able to tell your story and say, on our farm, our sustainability score is a 2. But we're trying to get better, and we're going to move to a 3 next year, or whatever that might be. Or maybe it's our carbon footprint. Maybe we want to get to a 0. Maybe we're at a 0.1 and our goal is to get to 0, and we're going to get there next year. So that scorekeeping is where we're going, because the consumers downstream are wanting to hear that. I'm going to jump into a demo before I turn it over to Ryan. So we built our program to keep both small farms and large farms in mind. So we have the ability to look at a company level, and underneath the company you may have 2 farms. Maybe it's a heifer site and a milking site, and then at each site you'd have buildings that you're trying to ultimately get down to. So what I'll do here is I've got a demo site. We don't want to talk about a real farm here. So I'll go to the demo dairy farm, and we have one building on that site, so I'll jump into that building. So now we're able to see what is going on at one location. We have some really quick metrics to see what's going on in the barn for temperature or humidity, and ultimately look at a metric we call THI. We can see equipment performance if we want to get into all the details. We also have alerts. So talk about not needing more data. Think about just getting a text on your phone and saying, oh, we have something going on in pen 3 with higher humidity, and maybe I should go look and see what is going on. And so those alerts can be sent right to your mobile device in the app or a text, and make them actionable for you. We have the ability to control equipment, so I could turn fans on and off if I desired. I saw something wrong or wanted to increase something in one area, I could do that all from my phone. And then also change the way they're set up. So in this case, I'll just click on this cooling group. I can change in how they come on and ramp. So there's ways you can program them to match the environment that you want to create for the cow. And those include, in this example, here's fans, but we could also do inlets and high pressure fogging, soaking, lighting, alley scrapers, flush valves. You can imagine that list of things that go on inside a farm. We can control all of that. We've got a pretty robust reporting function. I'll just click on a simple example of what the temperature is of the inside versus outdoor temperature. Remember, we're not putting air conditioning in these barns yet, but if that ever became economical, we'd see that line be a lot different. But what we're trying to do is just make sure the environment in the barn is as best as we can do by putting as much air on the animals in the right method as possible. So there's complete reporting functions that are able to show us what's going on or what has happened. Even compare that to milk price or humidity. You can see there's a lot of reports here. So very easy to use navigation around the platform. Some heads up dashboards that allow us to just see real quickly and across multiple sites. So again, extending your oversight where maybe you can't always get to the heifer farm down the road, but I can see what's going on my device, on my phone. So again, efficiencies of labor are gained. We can do another in-depth demo if anybody wants to see that afterwards, but with that, I'll turn it back over to Ryan here.
Well, thank you, Mark. And what we'll do is we'll wrap up talking about something I think that's pretty exciting, and that's a little bit about Turntight Technologies, and go give you guys a little bit of background on that and how specifically how that really generated the intelligent barn. So Turntight Technologies itself is an interesting, unique company. It's really a tech company. But what makes it different is Turntight is not just focused on software development. It actually was founded whenever a couple guys got together to be able to create a viable switch reluctance motor. So if anybody knows a little bit about switch reluctance motors or motor technology in general, the idea behind a switch reluctance motor is actually about 100 plus years old, but it's never been able to be controlled and utilized. It's actually the simplest, most efficient motor design out there. So Turntight was set up really to solve that problem, and that's one of the key ethoses of Turntight is we take and find the hardest problems to solve and be able to utilize that in the different industries that we support. So the marriage with VES-Artex really came about with the development of Intelligent Barn. So what happened with this is with the Turntight side of the business, we're going to be able to partner with VES-Artex and provide world-class hardware with a world-class software and take the experience and the knowledge that VES-Artex has been able to develop over the years in terms of meeting with veterinarians, dairymen, and people in the industry. The mission of Turntight is to invent and scale breakthrough technologies to optimize how humanity uses energy. We utilize these three key value propositions in all the different verticals that we have. So conserve, profit, and lead. With that, a key aspect of this is to reduce carbon emissions, to be able to make, again, every watt worthwhile for humanity. Capture cost savings, so you'll see, and I think you saw, should I say, with Mark, and you'll see in the future with Intelligent Barn and some of the development that we continue to do with that. A lot of it is focused on optimization of the cost, optimization of the inputs and outputs to be able to give the most viable, sustainable technology for the dairyman. Reduce disruptive failures. So again, dairies are working obviously 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365. With our development technologies, we want to be able to reduce them as much as possible. So again, it can be running at the most efficient ratio. Improve operations across a portfolio of industry, and then strengthen and protect the brands that we serve. So a couple, again, key unique things about Turntight Technologies is we really focus on a couple of core hardware and software technologies. Cloud insight and control, like we see with Intelligent Barn, edge connectivity and automation, and then the electric machines. Down at the bottom, you see the three real key parts of the hardware that we've developed over the years. The motor itself, the algorithms, so really the software and the control, and that's what makes it so unique is with the development of the algorithms and let's say the price reduction that computers have had in the last 10 to 15 years, that's what really made this technology viable. We can do the calculations to control that motor at a very fine-tuned point, and that's a lot of that is the algorithms that we're controlling in that. And then being able to see that motor and being able to see the different aspects of the barn, the outputs that we're controlling at any time, anywhere with the cloud. Quickly, a couple different of the industries, verticals that we serve. Again, VES-Artex is the flagship for the dairy industry under the agriculture. Buildings, we are also into commercial real estate, different aspects of the built environment. There's a lot of things with Intelligent Barn that we're able to utilize economy of scales and utilize the different aspects that we have in the built environment. They line up very similarly in a lot of ways. Equipment, we see with different OEMs and different aspects being able to use that motor technology plus the BOSS, the built environment software technology to be able to control those different aspects of the OEM industry, specifically irrigation, water pumps, and conveyors for a lot of different operations. And then transport. We've, in the last year, integrated a couple different technology or different companies with different technologies in terms of electrifying different vehicles. So focused not just on off-highway, but on highway as well, but really looking to focus on the marine aspects, train transport, as well as aerospace.
There's really an important thing to focus on for what we're presenting today. You know, and I think back in my career, which I said isn't not in dairy, it's been in manufacturing. And I can tell you that in 25 years plus in manufacturing, when I would hear the word sustainability, I would cringe. And I didn't know why until I really thought about it. And the reason why is because the word sustainability in my mind rivaled profitability. And the key thing that we're presenting today is that sustainability that enhances profitability really resonates with the dairyman. Because the few dairymen I've gotten to know love animals, love the earth, love clean water, love clean air, as do all of us, quite honestly. To do the right thing and to make them more economically viable and competitive, that's really what this is about, because the dairyman, this isn't a job. I went to school to become a dairyman, now I'm a dairyman. It's maybe a fourth or fifth generation. It's not just what they do for a living, it's their lifestyle. And it's very important to them, it's very personal to them. And when we promote things that challenge profitability, that doesn't go over so well. So sustainability that enhances profitability, that's what this is all about. And that's really, if you're going to take one sentence away from this, is sustainability that enhances profitability. That's really the key message.